Welcome to Evelyn Around the World. I'm here with Alexandra Dias. Bienvenida a Evelyn Alrededor do Mundo. Estou muito contenta que estás aqui comigo em muito linda cidade de Lisboa, em Portugal. Muito obrigada que aceitaste a invitação que estar comigo nesta entrevista. Muito obrigada.
Thank you.
Well, Alexandra, you are a wonderful woman. You are very successful. You are head of communications. You have experience in communications, PR, and as a journalist as well, and work with big companies such as Netflix, Microsoft, and PlayStation.
Hi, Evelyn. Thank you for your invitation. I'm quite honored to be here. I'm Portuguese. I was born and raised in the south area of Lisbon, across the river. I'm the youngest of 3 girls, so it's like lots of woman power in the house.
In the house, yeah. Well, very impressive. That's great. Well, we are in Portugal, in Lisbon, so we can't start this interview without hearing you tell us a fun fact about Portugal, because there's a lot of people watching this right now. So tell us about Portugal. What's special about this beautiful country?
Oh, so many things. I could be 1 hour talking about it. Well, we are very big fans of codfish. We say that we have 1,001 ways to cooking it. I don't know if it's 1,001, but it's close to it. Although quite awkward, it's not fished in our sea. We go to fish up north in the North Atlantic, so that's interesting. Another thing that it's quite curious about Portugal, and we have amazing wines. North to south of Portugal, you can find red wines, white wines, sparkling, for all the occasion, and very, very good. So I invite you to taste it every time that you come to Portugal, because you have always something new and something good to try on.
And also the experience of smashing the grapes. I always wanted to do that. I've never been able to.
Yes, in some wineries in Portugal, you can, by the time it's September, usually that time of the year, that it's the smashing the grapes, something that you should try.
You have worked with big companies, as I mentioned before, and being a journalist and also in PR and heading the communication department for Brazil and also Portugal. You've also had the experience to travel to Africa, and then you led multiple people in different organizations and different countries, different cultures. So tell us what has been like your biggest accomplishment.
Well, Evelyn, honestly, I hope it's yet to come because I think it's important. Well, at least for me, for my character, for the way I think. I don't like to settle and to be accommodate in a position. So I hope I have bigger accomplishments to achieve. But up till now, I must say that my biggest accomplishment was to be the head of Marco de Comunicación for the Portuguese and the Brazilian market, and also for African countries. Marco de Comunicación is a Spanish PR agency based on Spain, but also with offices around the world. And that brought me a very fulfilling experience in terms of leadership and management. Not just to manage the teams and to understand the needs and the objectives of the people in my team, but also all other areas of managing the office, to be aware of the profitability of the company, to be aware of all the areas that make the company work. Although we share the same language, because I was head of Portugal and Brazil, and we share the Portuguese as common language. We have slight differences in cultural area, probably because Brazil is also such a fulfilling country with so many cultures inside of it, that brings such a different way of doing business, of contacting persons, with much more informal than in Portugal. But I also have to keep in mind some little details such as different timetables. What was 1 hour in Portugal, it was different in Brazil, or in Africa, which was other market that I work. So that awareness that even though I share a language with you, with the other markets, there are so many different things that I have to have in mind in order to complete the business, to make a good relationship with both journalists and the clients and the business that I was trying to communicate.
And that's really something to highlight, because you grew up here in Portugal and then you work with this many different countries. And I find it interesting because myself included in this, I grew up in Panama and then I moved to Colombia and then I went to the United States to pursue my career and continue to work in my career. And I found that throughout that journey, it was challenging trying to perform as a professional and succeed at it, but at the same time to fit in a different culture and fit in with different language and fit in with different aspects of the country. So it's doable. I think it's in a position like this and you're heading a department and you are an executive and successful, is doable. There's also obstacles and challenges along the way in order to be able to manage teams in different corporations and also different countries and different cultures. How difficult or how challenging was that for you and how do you overcome that?
It was quite challenging, yes. I think the first point was to trying to understand what was the differences and trying to think how can I work better in the different markets and what make people shine and enjoy in the different markets and then in the different teams, and trying to capture that and to nurture that in order for the persons to raise. For instance, I realized that Brazilian market is quite informal compared with Portugal. But on the other hand, the difference between the Brazilian Portuguese and the Portuguese from Europe, it is sometimes it is big, and we need to speak in different ways or to use different words that sometimes in the different markets have opposites or bad significance. So that was a learning, and to understand what are their difficulties and what are their challenges, because in some countries something that is a challenge for them, it's not for me, that I'm in Portugal and live and raised in a different environment. And so I have to open my mind in order to understand that probably that I need to understand the culture and the characteristics of the country, of the business, in order to promote a better communication strategy for them.